guys, thanks for joining me on a very special episode of Sam Has a Spending Problem. Today I'm doing a review of my brand new Sigma 35mm I-Series f2.0 wide-angle prime lens. I'm super excited about this because it's probably my favorite lens that I've ever owned, and Sigma changed some things up with this as compared to the prime lenses that I have for my M50. So stick around and you'll find out exactly what I love about this lens. You guys ready? Let's get to it. The Sigma 35mm f2 DGDN I-Series lens is a prime wide-angle lens for the Sony E-mount or the Leica L-mount. It has a 58mm filter ring on the front, and it's compatible with high-speed autofocus with a dust and splash-proof body. On the outside of the body, you'll find an aperture ring with a tactile feedback to it, and you'll also find your standard auto or manual focus switch. One of the great features about this lens is its price. Unlike the G Master or the Zeiss offerings for this same sensor, I didn't have to cut out any of my organs and sell them on the black market in order to afford it. As I'm sure many of you know, when you get home with all that footage through that lens that cost you your firstborn, and that footage just isn't up to par with what you were expecting, it is the worst feeling on planet Earth. One of the first things that I noticed about this lens that was a little bit off-putting when he pulled it out of the box at the store is how small it is. I mean, this thing is really tiny. I cannot believe even now that it's a full-frame lens. And I get that it was designed to be a compact solution for mirrorless full-frame cameras, but I just can't believe how well it was executed. I mean, this thing is microscopic compared to some lenses. But before I landed on the 35mm, I actually had the Zeiss 25mm, which costed considerably more, and I still think that the Sigma 35mm is the better bang for your buck. Granted, the Zeiss was used and a different focal length, but I just find myself using this one more than I used the Zeiss when I had it. And admittedly, I have a soft spot for Sigma prime lenses. I think for the price, you're not gonna get anything better. The price to performance ratio on Sigma's products has always impressed me. But I'm starting to sound like a salesman, so let's move on. The 35mm has spent more time on my A7 III than the 65mm has so far, and I think the reason being is because it's just a solid all-rounder. I can use it for street photography, I can throw it on the gimbal, and it's just gonna perform. With its lowest aperture of 2.0, I was actually a bit worried about the depth of field in the bokeh, but I was pleasantly surprised. The backgrounds look plenty soft, and I can't complain about how the lights look either. But don't take my word for it, have a look at some of this test footage. Couple things that Sigma changed up with these lenses. The shroud is now metal with a plastic link ring inside. The outside is all aluminum, it feels like. And another thing that Sigma included in the box that I haven't seen before is these magnetic metal lens caps. Me personally, I don't know that I'm gonna get a lot of use out of these because I don't want this thing clanging around in my camera bag. Not because I feel like it's gonna fall off, but if I put a filter on this lens and I don't have a lens cap that'll fit the filter, this won't magnetize through the filter. So it will have to sit in my camera bag on its own, and I don't want it to be flopping around, scratching other gear in my camera bag. So personally, I don't know how much use I'm gonna get out of it, but it is something to consider when you buy the lens. The focus ring feels super premium, as is the norm with Sigma. Everything about this lens looks and feels premium. The manual and autofocus switch feels good. Other than that, the element on the front looks nice. Everything about the lens looks nice in person, and I'm super happy with it. I've used this more than the 65 or my other two lenses for the Canon M50, and I think that it's going to be a mainstay in my rig from now on. And one of the reasons that I went with two smaller prime lenses when I bought the A7 III is because that's the setup that I'm used to with the M50. I have the 30mm, I have the 56mm, and that's pretty much all I use for that camera. I'm filming this part right now on the 30mm, which in terms of size is almost identical to this I-Series 35mm. Obviously it's not the same focal length because this is full frame, that's a crop sensor, but the idea is still there. The form factor is still there. Other than that, thank you so much for joining me. Like and subscribe if you found this video helpful, and also let me know down in the comments if there's anything that you'd like me to review. If there's a product that you've been thinking about buying but don't want to pull the trigger on, I can do it for you. I'm always looking for requests. I love doing reviews, so let me know down in the comments. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for joining me.